Hello and welcome to the Commander's Quarters, your Magic the Gathering source that helps you command your budget. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all their support. And also, the Pigs Playing Magic Kickstarter has launched, so make sure you check that out. The Kickstarter campaign is going to last for 30 days, and after that, the playmat will no longer be available for purchase. Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Conjurers Closet studio. Welcome to the show. So, Double Masters. Really weird name, really exciting set. Well, at least so far. Today we've got some brand new spoilers for Double Masters with some really exciting reprints, a lot of value in there, and also some new art to show off too. So, let's jump into it. So let's start things off with two cards from the Reflection Cycle. It's a cycle from Shadowmoor that I don't believe any of them have really seen a reprint, but they were in my potential cards to be reprinted in my predictions episode, so I'm counting this as a win. Anyways, only two have been spoiled so far, and those are Boon Reflection and Thought Reflection. Boon Reflection's an enchantment that costs 4 and a white and says if you would gain life, you gain twice that much life instead. It costs around $9, so that's a good reprint, and again, this is some, new art, so I'm not sure how exactly that's going to affect the price and whatnot, but a reprint is a reprint, so that's a good thing. Thought Reflection is an enchantment that costs 4 blue, blue, blue. Says if you would draw a card, draw 2 cards instead. So this can help you kind of double up on your draws, whereas Boon Reflection helps you double up in your life. Good for a life gain deck versus a draw cards deck. Thought Reflection, though, is only about $2, so value-wise, it's not that great of a reprint. But hopefully, since we see these 2 reflections being reprinted and with new art, we're going to see the other 3. So let's start things off with Mana Reflection. It's an enchantment for 4 green green. It says if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces twice that much mana instead. So yeah, this is basically a mana doubler for pretty much all your things. And yeah, that is an extremely valuable thing in Commander, which is why it commands a price tag of $43 currently. So yeah, a reprint and some new art could really do it some good. Next up, there's Wound Reflection. It's an enchantment for 5 and a black. This one also sees a lot of play in Commander. It says at the end of each turn, each opponent loses life equal to the life that they lost this turn. So yeah, that is basically doubling up all the damage and life loss to all your opponents throughout the game. So even if someone else causes them to lose life, let's say one of your opponents swings out and hits them for 10 damage, at the end of the turn, they lose another 10. So yeah, this is fantastic. Does not apply to you, just applies to your opponents, doubles up that damage and life loss. So yeah, this one's currently $25. So again, a reprint could really come in handy in dropping that price down. And then there's Rage Reflection, which is an enchantment for 4 red, red. It says creatures you control have double strike. This is good, it is kind of overcosted for what it does. There are some other cards that kind of do the same thing-ish, but for less mana. And so that's why this one only has a price tag of around $2 or $3. But again, if all these are reprinted, I guess, with the first 2 that are shown, the first 2 reflections that are supposed to be reprinted with Boon and Thought, if Mana, Wound, and Rager are reprinted, I think that'd be a very good cycle to have reprinted, because again, there is a lot of value in that Mana, Wound, and then a little bit in Boon as well, too. Next, let's jump into 2 more high-value reprints with Karn Liberated and Jace the Mind Sculptor. Both are very infamous or famous planeswalkers from Magic's history. Karn Liberated actually gets some new art treatment as well. Currently, Karn's around $35, so I'm not sure how exactly the new art's going to play into that. I believe that there's actually a non-new art version as well. So again, reprints are always going to probably drive down the value. It depends on, how many are printed and so on and so forth and what rarity they're at. But yeah, reprint is always going to be a good thing, especially for expensive cards. So yeah, Karn Liberated is a legendary planeswalker that has 6 loyalty, it costs 7, and it has +4, target player exiles a card from their hand, -3, exile target permanent, and -14, restart the game, leaving an exile on all non-aura permanent cards, exile with Karn Liberated. Then put those cards onto the battlefield under your control. So this is fantastic in other formats. In Commander, it doesn't really see too much play, but it still is a very powerful card when it does come out. Jace the Mind Sculptor, again, perhaps the most infamous of all planeswalkers. It is a 3 loyalty planeswalker that costs 2 blue, blue. +2, look at the top card of target player's library. You may put that on the bottom of that player's library. 0, draw 3 cards, then put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. -1, return target creature to its owner's hand. And -12, exile all cards from target player's library. Then that player shuffles their hand into their library. So yeah, an extremely powerful planeswalker, and that's why it currently commands a price of $72. At one point, it was definitely over $100. A couple of reprints have happened since, or at least one reprint, I believe, has happened since. But yeah, another reprint of it is definitely going to drop its price down even further, which is going to be good if you've got a Super Friends deck. Again, These cards are not for every deck, but again, the decks that want them, it's good that their price is going to be dropping a little bit. And also for this Jace the Mind Sculptor, I believe that this is the first extended art of this version, but I could be incorrect again. I'm a budget player. I don't really use $72 cards in my deck. But yeah, nice reprint for players who want it. Moving on, next up there's Conjurers Closet, which is pretty much a commander staple for any sort of a blink deck. It's an artifact that costs 5. It says at the beginning of your end step, you may exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. This one currently costs around $7, so it's a good reprint. It can bring it back into potentially budget territory. Haven't been able to include it in a lot of decks, or if any decks, I'm not really sure. I'd have to go back and look, but basically, this is a fantastic card for blink decks because it gives you that kind of extra ETB again. This also can work as a really good way to steal opponent's creatures as well, so if you've got any kind of a threaten effect or whatnot, you can steal your opponent's creature temporarily, and then you use Conjurer's Closet to exile it and then return back to the battlefield under your control. So again, that kind of just makes it a permanent steal versus like a temporary steal. So this can be used for blink decks, theft decks. It sees a ton of play in Commander. Again, it's an artifact, so it can fit in any deck. So yeah, I definitely think that this is a good Commander-specific reprint. I'm not sure if it sees play in other formats. I don't think it does. But yeah, again, if this can drop from $7 to maybe $2 or $3, that would be pretty good. Next up, let's move on to the Tron Lands, or the Urza Lands, which see a reprint with some new art. These are going to be Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, and Urza's Power Plant. Now, these don't really see play in Commander outside of colorless decks, but in formats like Modern, I believe they see a good amount of play in those Tron-style decks. Basically, each of them taps for a colorless, except if you've got all 3 in play. Then they tap for more. Urza's Mine and Urza's Power Plant each tap for colorless, and Urza's Tower taps for colorless. So that's 7 mana in total when all 3 of them are out, versus just 3 mana. But basically, these are only a few bucks each, but they do have some new art. So again, if you've got a colorless deck and you really like the new art, maybe you'll pick them up. Or if you play Modern and you want to upgrade your Tron Lands, then you can do that as well. So again, they're a few bucks each. Their price will probably drop a little bit. Again, not sure exactly how much the new art's going to cost, but yeah. Let's move on to Exploration, an extremely powerful ramp card that sees a lot of play in Commander, actually. It would see even more play if it wasn't $43. So yeah, this is a good reprint in terms of value. It's an enchantment for a green. It says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. So yeah, doubling up your land drops is an extremely powerful thing on Commander for just 1 mana. This can get you way ahead of your opponents just from the get-go, from turn 1. It's also great in landfall decks, obviously, when you're playing more lands and getting more landfall triggers. So yeah, this reprint should knock its price down quite a bit. Again, I don't think it's ever going to be a budget card, but it's going to drop from $43, hopefully, to a more reasonable amount for many people. And then we've got the Sword of War and Peace from the Sword Cycle with some brand new art. It's an equipment for 3, and it says equipped creature has +2/+2 and protection from red and white. And whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, Sword of War and Peace deals damage to that player equal to the number of cards in their hand, and you gain 1 life for each card in your hand, and it's got equipped too. Now, Sword of War and Peace specifically is one of the weaker swords of the cycle, at least considered by many to be one of the weaker ones, and that's why it's got a price tag of around $20, which is still not budget, but it's a lot cheaper than some of the other swords, which fetch a price tag around $60 or $70 or so. So yeah, if the entire cycle is reprinted, that could be a really big thing, a lot of value there, and again, making them a lot more affordable for certain players that might want the swords. And the final card I'm going to talk about today is Coil Engine. It's a favorite of many players, so it's good to see that I got this new art treatment. Anyways, it's around $20 currently, so having a reprint can definitely drop that price down. It's a 6/6 worm that costs 6, and it has Death Touch and Lifelink, and when it dies, you get a 3/3 Death Touch and a 3/3 Lifelink. So yeah, this is a fantastic card for token synergies or for an artifact synergistic deck. Again, getting kind of basically 3 bodies for the price of 1 and 3 very effective bodies for the price of 1 can be great. So yeah, hopefully this drops the price down from $20 to a more reasonable amount for some players. And with that, this show is coming to a close, so it's my turn to hear from you. So in the comments below, let me know what reprint you most want to see in Double Masters. Wayfarer's Bauble, Wayfarer's Bauble, Wayfarer's Bauble. Comment Wayfarer's Bauble below, and as always, thanks again, and have a good one.